By the time they print the invoice, they give it to me, and the invoice is for 66,000. I repeat, 66,000. So you can just imagine my shock when I'm expecting 21,000, but it's really 66. And so I was standing and I sit back down and I'm like, what are you talking about? What is this? Like, give me some more details. And so when you look at the line items, yes, there is the 21,000 for the normal application fee. But they say, oh, there's an extra 45 because, you didn't know? Oh, well, since June 1st, 2022, there is a new rule saying that any construction permit application which adds dwelling has a $2,500 fee per unit as a special contribution from the project to the local infrastructure, because the city is growing and we essentially need more money to maintain and increase the infrastructure that you benefit from. So I understand that from the perspective of the city. Okay, well, I understand it. Doesn't mean I agree. Hello, and welcome back to the Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. And today, I'm happy to give you an update on some of the projects that we're working on. There's been already a few this summer. I actually got some good feedback about those episodes and just wanted to keep the saga going. So here you go. Before I go any further, thank you, everyone who's listening. Thank you for your support. It's deeply appreciated. If you want to keep supporting us, please leave us a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Send us some feedback, send us some questions. And also, very importantly, I'm in the process now, end of August, of doing my bookings and doing my planning for all of the fall, everything until Christmas. So if you have any guests or people you'd like to hear about, or you think these people have something to share, please let me know. Give me a name, give me your contact information. I'll be glad to reach out to them and get them on the show. Or if there's any particular topics you'd like to hear about, it'll be a pleasure to do a bit of research and see what kind of resources I can get to answer some of your questions. So there you go. And of course, feel free to share this episode with anyone who you think might benefit from these experiences and stories. So there you go. Also, I've been approached and I'm open to sponsorships. There's a few companies who've mentioned they'd be interested in getting involved. If that's your case, or if you know anyone who would be, who'd like to be positioned to have the ears of real estate investors within the province of Quebec, let me know. I'm open to the idea. So hope we can do maybe some business together. So today I wanted to give you an update on, as I said, the projects that we're working on, and I have a few good stories, because the world of real estate investing is sometimes full of intricacies. And you might remember in one of the previous episodes, I've spoken about a big project that we've taken on in the city of Saint-Jérôme. We've recently, a couple months ago now, actually purchased land to build a 17 unit, which has an underground parking. Ground floor has 5,500 square feet of commercial and 16 residential units. We've been working on that for now a couple of months. Beginning of July, something really funny happened. It was actually right before I went on vacation, came back about 2 weeks ago. And with the team of engineers and architects, we aim to be able to make the building permit, the construction permit application for July 7th. And so everything was geared towards that date. And we were ready the day before. Everything was there. We had an appointment booked with the city, because as much as you can submit everything electronically, you still need to go on site for certain big applications such as this one. And so, you can imagine me trying to, going over there for 9:00 at the Urbanisme in Saint-Jérôme with big rolls of plans and stuff like that. Well, sorry to disappoint, but nowadays you do a building application, you just go with a USB key and you give it to them and they upload every single thing. They check that, they have a checklist essentially, and to make sure that you're submitting all the right documents. And given the the sheer size of the project, that whole process took about an hour and a half. Now it's the summer holidays. I had my son with me, and I thought it would take like a half hour and more of a formality. But surprises, surprises. So I brought some coloring pencils and some drawings, and he's at the desk next to me, like doing all that, and he's actually been really good about it. So here I am in the office, and we go through each document. They validate everything. They go through the checklist, and really at the end, I'm just told one thing. I'm just told that, well, from we have a document from the biologist, because the back of the building is adjacent to a river, and eventually we're going to need to replant. We're going to need to reseed, especially that there is a bit of slope. So it's important to have trees, to have plants to really hold the soil and limit the erosion. And we had a sheet with the essence of trees and the type of plants that should be included. But the person at the permit told me, well, you're still missing that. This isn't a proper report from the biologist. It's a letter and a document with the suggestion of plants that need to be planted, but it doesn't say enough about the biologist and how they got to that point. I kind of argued and convinced them, like, if I have the list of plants, like, we definitely did do the study. Otherwise, like, I didn't just pull that out of nowhere. So I had to literally turn around, reach out to the biologist so they could produce a letter explaining, we've been on site, we looked at it, we looked at the plants that are local from that region, like we looked at the topography and the proximity to the river and stuff like that. And she was able to actually turn around quite quickly within about 2-3 days and produce that letter. So I submitted it. So now the application was considered complete from a document point of view. But now, surprises come. So at the end of that hour and a half, everything checks out other than that biologist letter, and they gave me 1 week to attain it, which I did within 3 days. So now I have to pay. They will not treat the application until the fees are paid, and the fees are paid calculated by the amount of construction work that's supposed to be done. So in our case, we had done the estimate with the architect, and the bill is supposed to be around $21,000. So yeah, you heard me, $21,000 for the application for the building permit, given the size of the building that we are going to implant, to build over there. So I was ready for that, to just get the invoice. I'm going to go to the local bank and then just get a bank draft, and then just come back a half hour later and pay it, and it's all good and dandy. Now, surprise, surprise. By the time they print the invoice, they give it to me, and the invoice is for $66,000. I repeat, $66,000. So you can just imagine my shock when I'm expecting $21,000, but it's really $66,000. And so I was standing, and I sit back down, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What is this? Like, give me some more details. And so when you look at the line items, yes, there is the $21,000 for the normal application fee. But they say, oh, there's an extra $45,000 because, oh, you didn't know? Oh, well, since June 1st, 2022, there is a new rule saying that any construction permit application which adds dwelling has a $2,500 fee per unit as a special contribution from the project to the local infrastructure, because the city is growing, and we essentially need more money to maintain and increase the infrastructure that you benefit from. So I understand that from the perspective of the city. Okay, well, I understand it. Doesn't mean I agree, but I understand it. And what shocked me, and I explained to them, is that we've been in touch with the urbanism office since end of April. And at no point, no one's ever mentioned that. And literally a week before the appointment, so around end of June, beginning of July, we had another exchange of email with the city to reconfirm the list of documents that needed to be brought for the application, the process that needed to be followed, the fees that needed to be paid. No one has ever mentioned this new rule that was in place since 5 weeks. At that point, nothing had been mentioned. So it came as quite of a shock. For anyone who's done a project like that, you're going to go and build a $7 million property. Every dollar counts. Everything is accounted, and you budget for absolutely everything. So I tried to explain to them, now you out of nowhere bring a $45,000 fee. I don't have that extra $45,000. Like, I don't know how I'm going to budget it. That might just hold the project for a while. And the lady at the counter, I guess, is used to that kind of. She was very, I was going to say, unsympathetic. And just said, well, until that paid, like, we're not going to process your file, and, you better figure out a solution. And I just said, okay, is there someone here I can talk to from the urbanism office? As this project has been known to the city for 3 years. It's a special project. It was approved back in 2019. There's a lot of history. We keep getting pressure from the city that you want this to be built because it's in a downtown location, and so on and so forth. She was actually very unhelpful. And so I left there just thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have about 5 days till I leave on vacation for a month. And my plan had been to really, really disconnect. So I don't know. I really don't know what to do. I came back. So it's an hour drive back to home. I was extremely bummed. And it's not even just a question of bummed. It's a question of, like, I need to figure it out. I'm going to figure out something, but I just don't know what's the solution yet, but I'm going to figure it out. So I ended up coming home and recapping the situation to Simon, who you've heard on the previous podcast. We do quite a bit of stuff together. And he said, okay, well, let's see who we can reach at the city. And, doing a little bit of research, we found someone on the Conseil Municipal. So that's on the administration of the city. Reached out to them. Actually, she picked up the phone, like, first call, and I explained, and she said, okay, I understand your situation. Let me see what we can do. We're supposed to have an urbanism office meeting early this week. So this was on a Friday. So, and I'm leaving Tuesday on vacation. And so I explained the situation, said, look, that might just stop the project for a while. It'd really be too bad. What can we do? And I had, my proposition to them was, I'm fine for paying the 21,000, except the 45. Can I pay it before the end of the project? I understand it's a contribution to the infrastructure of the city. Because I need to essentially, like, now work it into the financing because I don't have the extra 45K. So she said she'd get back to me. She'd try to help. So 1 day goes by, 2 day goes by, 3 day goes by. So here I am. So now I'm leaving for Europe on Tuesday night. It's now Tuesday morning. And I finally get a call from the city, someone that I spoke to before, who's been a point of contact, who that person never mentioned the extra 45,000 that had been added since a month as a new rule. And I basically, like, recapped the situation, just said, that's just going to stop the project for a while. Like, we don't have that extra budget. Everything's been allocated. So I restated my offer of, if you want me to pay this, I'll pay this, but can you give me until the end of the project so that I can work it into my financing? What she came back was that no, we couldn't. It needed to be paid in order for the building permit to be issued, but they would agree that only the 21,000 gets paid, that the application would be processed, and when the permit is ready to be emit, they would write a letter saying that everything is ready and that I could use this for financing purposes. So I don't want to say I didn't have much choice, but that was kind of like the best we could come up with, because what I really wanted was for the application to be processed. Like, let's keep pushing inch by inch in every direction. So that's what we agreed on. So right now they're processing it. There's already been a question or two to the architect, but nothing significant or deal breaking. And by the time they're ready, the city is going to emit a letter. But in order for that permit to be emit, I need to pay that. So it's not that it's a bummer. It is a bummer, but I'll find a solution. I'll make it work. And so now I'm really entering the financing stage, where I need to add that extra fee into it. And 45,000 over the spend of that project is not that much. It's just that, once again, when you do a financing like that, every dollar counts, every dollar is allocated. There's no spare. So this is where we're at, and I'm confident it's going to end up working because everyone wants that project. The second thing is that, as I mentioned, it's a special project. It's a PPC moi, which is just a weird acronym to say that that project didn't fit into the normal zoning and that it was submitted as a special project. And after revision by the city and the council, they've agreed to it. So now that PPC authorization is coming to an end in October. So I've had to do the application with the city in order to lengthen it. So it's still valid. So by the time I get my financing and my permit, I am able to actually start the project. So you think you're just going over there to go submit the plans and just pay your 21,000, and you get some surprises, you get some shocks. But the importance I find of all this is keeping the mindset that we're going to find a solution. There is a way. It's a good project. I'm going to figure it out. And that's just one thing that to be shared with everyone who's listening is that in the sports that we're in, i.e., real estate investing, we're always going to get surprises, whether they're financial ones, whether they're on relationships, whether they're, when I say relationship with contractors, with tenants, with whoever, and including the city, by the way, you're always going to get some surprises. But the point is to keep your eyes on the ball and remember the big picture, and remember that in the long run, it's worth it. It's worth it. You will find a solution. There is a way. You just need to figure it out. And if you don't know how to do it, that's fine. Just make sure you surround yourself with people who know how to do it, and you can figure it out from there. So that was a bit of the lowdown. So now that was like right before going on vacation. Like literally that conversation with the city was at 11 o'clock or noon in the morning. We're at the airport by 3 and our flight's at 6 p.m. heading to Europe. So I was sitting on the plane relieved that at least we found a solution, that I didn't have to worry about it during the holidays. And then off we went. And interestingly enough, on another project, we're renovating a 4-unit in Laval, really close to the metro. We bought this one last fall. It's une succession, and excellent deal and purchase. I mean, we bought for 60 cents on the dollar, fully vacant 4-unit. It just needs some love. There's a lot of potential in terms of rental, and we submitted that's a whole other story, and I'm going to give it to you like pretty quickly. Is that with the city of Laval? So we went to a dessinateur to get some plans for the permits, and we submitted in January of this year, so January 2022. And by beginning of March, I got an email and a phone call from the city saying that our application had been rejected because everything fit, except that a dessinateur can do up to 4 units and under 300 square meters. But in our case, and which we are under 300 square meters, but in our case, we're semi-detached, so we're attached on one wall. So the city counted the neighbor's floor area as well, and by then it's more than 300. So on that basis, they rejected. When I called the dessinateur, like, he was fuming. He said, like, we do hundreds of permits every year in all cities in Quebec. It's the second time that he hears this from Laval. It makes no sense. It just so here I am. So now I'm 6 weeks into it. It's been rejected. So we're in March. So I say, okay, well, dessinateur, let's find a solution. What are we going to do? He's like, okay, well, they want plans signed by an architect. I work with an architect. Let's get him to basically like verify and co-sign sign the plans, and then let's resubmit. So that's what we did. So that was by then end of March of this year, end of March, maybe early April. We try to do it as quickly as possible in terms of turnaround, obviously. So then you repay the fees, and then you go back to the bottom of the file and to the bottom of the pile, and you wait again. And so May, June, July. Originally, we were hoping to have the renovations done in rent for July. I guess optimism, huh? And now, like, it's urgent. We're in August, and the irony is that back in much earlier, we took all the measurements and we ordered all the new windows and doors. And we all know the lead time that there is on this stuff right now. It's literally like 4 to 6 months for anything you order, unless you get a special connection, which we don't particularly have. So we are within that lead time. And now the doors and windows are ready to be installed for mid-September, and we don't even have a permit yet. So I keep I wouldn't say harassing. I keep pushing the city because they're saying that one of the units, something is not up to code. The architect is saying it's completely up to code. Read the fine print, read article, so and so, and everything is fine. So I had the dessinateur check it, the architect checked it, but the city is saying, well, and not to point the finger at anyone, but it seems that the city also hired a lot of new young people that might not know, at least that's what the architect is claiming, that his plans are perfectly up to code. It's just that it's based on the interpretation of an article, and in that case it matches and it's fine. So we should just be able to take it from there. So here I am. I'm waiting for 2 building permits now. It's kind of halting everything, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. We will get through it, and I look forward that we start this project. And so I was going to say, what's the point of sharing these stories and the experiences is that in your journey in real estate, you are going to be faced with extremely contradictive messages from the city or other people that say, yeah, let's do this project. This is great. And then they do nothing to help you. And it feels like they're putting just sticks in your wheels to stop you and put you to a ground halt. So you just need to keep plowing ahead. You just need to find what's the next little thing I can do to roll that ball forward, just one day at a time. And eventually it will work. And at least on that project, I feel like we're actually like maybe a week or 2 from getting the permit. Maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I think it's close. I think we're close. And I need to find a solution because mid-September, those guys are ready to install the windows. And if I tell them, oh, no, we're not ready, this could be pushed for months. And we need to winterize the building. I mean, some windows have been removed, and right now it's just plywood. And I can't have that for much longer. Like we all know, fall is coming, winter's coming. There's going to be rain and snow, and we need to be ready. So there you go. Sometimes I get discouraged, and I remind myself why I'm doing this, and it's all worth it. In the end, it's just a game. It just takes energy. And here we go. I'll find a solution. So for everyone who's listening, as hard as it may seem, remember the big why. Remember the reason you're going through all of this. And building wealth over time is one of them. To leave a legacy to your kids might be another one. To fulfill your entrepreneurship spirit might be another one, and you have all the whys that are for you, and I'm sure they're enough to keep you going. So there you go. Wow, it's actually good to share this and kind of get it off my chest. I hope it can inspire some of you, and thank you for listening. And as I said, don't be discouraged. Keep going. Oh yeah, before I forget, also right now we're end of August. On September 13th, we will have a meetup in the Old Port. It'll be the first real estate event back from the summer. I look forward to having all of you. It'll be announced on meetup.com. It'll be announced on my Instagram, on Facebook, and everywhere. And I hope to see you there. So September 13th in the Old Port of Montreal. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. Keep making offers. Keep researching your market. Become an expert, and you can make even more offers and capture some properties to build wealth over time. Thank you so much.